And the big news today kind of dropped out of the blue, Charean. There was a near miss a few weeks ago in camp for 49ers cornerback Richard Sherman. He had some sort of lower leg injury that had everyone concerned. He promptly came back to practice. We never heard anything more about it. And I don't know where he got the injury that he now has. Is it the same thing? Was it exaggerated, whatever the case may be, or aggravated, exaggerated? Now he's on injured reserve, out of the blue, like that, injured reserve for Richard Sherman, which is kind of stunning. And this is a tool that teams can use this year because of the roster flexibility rules that let you put a guy on IR for only 3 weeks. We're going to see more guys on IR than ever before. And if they drop a guy on IR by Wednesday, they never have to tell us what the issue is. They never have to disclose anything in an injury report about whether it's lower body, upper body, is it ankle, is it hip, is it whatever? Did he practice? Can he practice? It's just he's on injured reserve, and he'll be back at some point, and that's all we know.
And Mike, I haven't gotten out of this, oh my gosh, he's on injured reserve type thing. And it's only 3 weeks now. And I know a lot of coaches hope that they maintain this going forward in 2021 and they can bring these guys back. And they can only bring them back once. But I think it's a great tool that teams can use. But I've got to get out of that, okay, it's only for 3 weeks. But, with Richard Sherman, I had to look up his age. It feels like to me that he's played forever and he's only 32. But in his first 6 seasons, he played all 16 games. And now he's had these little nicks and injuries and different things that have happened. He played 9 games in 2017 and 14 in 2018 and 15 last year. And now he's going to miss at least 3 games this year. And he still is one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL, but he's got to stay on the field. And the 49ers, unfortunately for them, have had a lot of these injuries early this season.
And what I said wasn't 100% accurate. I said, we know he's on injured reserve and he's coming back at some point. We don't know that he's coming back at some point. That's the beauty of it. They can put a guy on IR and never bring him back. All we know is after 3 weeks, the guy can come back. And this is all part of the COVID-19 protocol to make it easier for teams to have 53 healthy guys on the roster. So you're not carrying someone on the roster that does have a short-term injury that is going to be back sooner rather than later, but you don't want to put on injured reserve because under the normal circumstances, it's 8 weeks of a minimum absence, and you can only do it for 3. It was going to be 3 guys this year. It started as 1, then it became 2. Now it was going to be 3. Now it's everybody. Anybody you want is gone for a minimum of 3 weeks, and they don't have to say anything to us. It's the way the Vikings handled Danielle Hunter. Hey, coach, what's wrong with Danielle Hunter, one of the best defensive ends in football? He's got a tweak. That's all we heard all of August. And then last week, just as they're getting ready to issue the first injury report, he's put on IR. They still haven't had to tell us what's wrong with him. And they won't until he's off of IR and they get to a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday practice setting, and they have to issue a report saying whether and to what extent he practiced. So we're going to be in the dark for a lot of these guys. And you're right. When I hear that so-and-so is on injured reserve, I think, well, he's screwed. Well, this is the year where it's like, no, but no. And they don't care if coaches stash players. And Bill Belichick is going to use it to stash players. This is all about having maximum players available. So if there's a COVID-19 outbreak, they're not scrambling for healthy bodies.
And the 49ers made a number of moves at cornerback today, Mike, but nobody is Richard Sherman. I mean, he still is up there among the top cornerbacks in the NFL. But as you have noted, he's now not paid like one of the top cornerbacks in the NFL. He has an $8 million base salary, and I know you've dissected that a lot, but it was not a good contract for him, and he's going to lose an awful lot of money this year for however long he stays on injured reserve.
Yeah, he can get to 13, and last year he was very proud of the fact that he was able to unlock extra payment because he played most of the year. He made it onto the Pro Bowl roster. He made it to second team All-Pro, which unlocked even more money. By missing just a few games this year, he's going to lose $1 million in playing time incentive because he needs to participate in at least 90% of the snaps on defense. So that's $1 million gone. $1 million for the Pro Bowl, that's likely gone if he misses 3 games. I mean, he could come back and play incredibly well and still make it. Who knows? But that's in jeopardy now. And then $2 million to be first team or second team All-Pro. That's in danger as well. That's $4 million off the top, plus $62,500 for every game that he plays as a per-game roster bonus. He's got $5 million tied up in incentives, which could get him to 13 or keep him at or close to 8, somewhere between 8 and 9 based upon how many games he plays. And if he truly still is one of the best corners in the game, he's not getting paid like it. And just the question becomes, what's his future? It's his last year with the 49ers. I think he may not be back next year. And who knows? It's hard for a guy to continue to play corner for that long. Is he a guy who can switch to safety? That's something for down the road. But, the 49ers, very banged up now, Charean. And I guess the only good news out of today is George Kittle, their star tight end, wasn't put on injured reserve, which implies that this knee sprain isn't going to keep him out for 3 weeks.
Yeah, that is good news for them, and they hope to get Deebo Samuel back at some point. But you saw how much they missed a healthy George Kittle in the second half. He didn't have any catches, and I don't care what he said that he was fine. You could tell he wasn't fine in the second half of that game. And they certainly missed Deebo Samuel, and there are other receivers who are just banged up. That receiving core is just depleted right now. Had to use Raheem Mostert and some of those running backs to make do through this game. And I think that's part of the reason that Jimmy Garoppolo, I know he had over 100 passer rating and all that, but he didn't make the plays he needed to make in that game. And I think a big part of that reason was the receiving core just being depleted and not missing a healthy George Kittle in the second half. And we saw what the Cardinals did and Kyler Murray did with the healthy receiving core that are really good receivers.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.